universal tools are rarely that. The only thing you can count on with a universal tool is that it will universally not work very well for much of anything. But they're very popular. If you have this, you can fix all of these other things. And I'm guessing by your laughter that you have some experience with the lack of universality of universal tools. And so I want you to hold that word in your head, though, universal. It should mean that it applies to all of these things. It will work well for all of this. It will fix all of these. That is the intention. So keep that in mind. This morning we have what I think is a really interesting story. It's an interesting story because of how much we really don't know about it. Matthew takes time to lay out this story of these wise men, or these magi, these star watchers, who journeyed from somewhere in the east to come to see the Christ child in the manger. And through the years, there have been stories about who these men were and where they came from. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they're just that, stories. No more. There is no fact to them. We are not certain who they were or where they came from. But we know that they came. We know that they journeyed. We know that they had entree to Herod. So they must have been somewhat important. They had journeyed a great distance from the east, that kind of magical notion for out there in that part of the world. Maybe from Persia, could be. They might have been Zoroastrians, people who watched the stars, looking for signs of the world and what was going on. We don't know. And I always find those parts of Scripture fascinating, the parts where we don't know, where there's so much that has happened behind the scenes that was just never put into the Scripture. And so they journey. They come. They come bearing gifts. They come having traveled a great distance. They come perhaps with their caravans and porters to help them on this journey. But for all we don't know, we do know that wherever they came from, the journey would not have been the most comfortable, pleasant journey that could be taken. We know that it was likely difficult. We know that it was probably dangerous. But they came anyway. And so the question has to be, why? Idle curiosity? I don't think so. It would have been far more comfortable to stay at home. It would have been easier to wonder from a distance about this new star that they had seen. Now, I don't think it was that at all. I think they came precisely because they were curious, precisely because they wondered what this could possibly mean for them and for all those who could see this happening. I think they came because they were looking for something new. And it's often why we as people will set off on great journeys, either of distance or personal exploration. It's because we are seeking something new. We are seeking something that we are missing. Human nature, for the most part, unless we have a great deal of wanderlust inside of us, says that while it might be interesting to see what's out there, we know what's right here, and so let's just stay. These magi didn't. They didn't stay. They got up and they went. And what they found, well, we know what they found. They found a baby. They found his mother. They found them together. They found them perhaps waiting, and as these magi entered into the room, they brought gifts. They brought gifts fit for a king, not for a baby. These are maybe the worst baby gifts ever. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. But that's what they brought. And they laid them at the feet of this child. They spent time in his presence. And I think what they discovered, what they had a front row seat to, what they must have had some inkling of, is the universality of the birth of this child. What do I mean by this? That this child who would grow into a man had a message that applied to everyone. There is a universality to the message of Christ, something that each one of us needs. Not necessarily because we need to be Christians, but because we need to be heard. We need to be respected. We need to be loved. We need to be affirmed. We need to know that someone cares about us and is looking out for who we are. Is that not the ministry of Christ? Christ was concerned about the least and the last and the lost. He was concerned about people that were not even his particular type. The Samaritan woman, lepers who were outcasts from everybody. These are the people that Christ ministered to. There is a universal nature in his acceptance of all for who they were, being able to see beyond where they were at that time. Now that's something that if I were a ruler far to the east of where this baby was born, that would get me out on the road. I would want to be there and to see that at its beginning. I'm the kind of person who likes to be in on the ground floor of stuff. I don't like maintenance. I don't like to grease the wheels. I like to build from here up. And I think that these magi were the same. They wanted on at the start of the ride. That's what caused them to journey. They came to see the beginning of the story that is universal for everybody. And so as we start this new year together, we start this day where by my counting, yesterday was the last of the 12 days of Christmas. I think I've got that right. We are now in a new time period. We're in this interesting kind of liminal space between Christmas and Lent, which will take us to Easter. We have an amazing opportunity to start again, to start fresh with the busyness of the season behind us, with it over except for the credit card bills, and an opportunity to get in on the beginning of that ride. Before Jesus has had time to grow and find his feet and begin to get out into the field, now is the time to reaffirm our commitment to that universal message of love and hope and peace, not just for me and not just for you,